Welcome to the House of Time. We are in Lesson 31. I am Reverend Stephanie Neal, so let us continue talking about time magic. All our lives live at the same time. All lives we live inside this eternal moment, within this reality system. And there are many types of lives. And let me list them. We have past lives, which are lives we seemingly have lived in the past. We have present lives that we are living now, which are all of them. Future lives are lives we seemingly will live in the future. Similar lives or parallel lives are lives we are living that are close to what we are living now, with little differences. Then we have probable lives, which are lives we live when we are trying several variations or alternative solutions or approaches of a single life with which we are now focusing. Then we have visiting other realities that we are already living in a divine level of evolution. Then we have living beyond the veil as an ancestor or spirit guide, or which you can be both at the same time, or master teacher, and on and on. Then we have lives we are living in the fifth dimension and beyond. Now, boundaries. To begin this lesson, I will quote Chancellor Don Lewis from his third degree lessons in his chapter on time. Quote, "In the use of time manipulation, you must, as with so many areas of magic, be clear on what you believe, because what you believe will shape your reality." Close quote. So with that said, let us re-examine our beliefs about time and what we think it is and what time is not. Time, as individuals, we experience it as a sequential reality within a limited range, as a single unit. Though we have set this construct up with a beginning, middle, and end, there is no beginning, no middle, or no end, as well as the smallest unit of measurement regarding a thing or time cannot be experienced or even measured at this point. The same is true for the largest unit of time, cannot be described or measured. One person will experience time completely different than another individual. Consider a child experiences time differently than an adult or a senior. Within this physical reality system, we term time as a static, unbendable, measurable unit. Once we push past all the seemingly knowables, we see that time is fluid and can be walked through or manipulated depending on the fluidity of the individual's outlook on both this physical reality and the time construct within this sphere. Once we know there is something past time, we see time begins to lose its sharp boundaries. Let me give you another example of something that seemed for centuries that no one could cross its boundaries, and that is gravity. Just because the human race could not overcome its force, this did not stop astronomers from studying what was past its boundaries. Scientists figured out how to override the law of gravity so that they may design an airplane, then eventually a rocket, to blast through gravity, which allowed them to travel first to the sky, then to the moon and beyond, proving there are ways to move beyond even a steady true law, beyond this reality of gravity. This did not stop scientists from creating rockets to push past gravity's boundaries. Once gravity was discovered or named gravity by Newton, it became a law to be overcome if humanity was to visit the sky and space physically. Let us look at the sequence here. First, gravity was not known but experienced by all things on this planet. Second, it was observed and named, as well as defined how it worked, and saying nothing is outside of this massive law. Or, by breaking this law of gravity, brought us to heights we never imagined. Then scientists discovered there was something beyond gravity, and everything beyond gravity behaves differently because these things are not attached to gravity. Yet, nevertheless, the law still remains true, just not in space. Space, speed, sound, light, and time are all related. If gravity's boundaries could be pushed through, so could the speed of sound, light, and of course time. Now consider Albert Einstein's belief that all light travels at the same rate throughout the universe, and nothing with mass can surpass light. That would be a speed that travels the earth 8 times per second, and that nothing can match or go beyond light speed. Sound or sound pulses can travel faster than the speed of light, which becomes a negative frequency as well as infinite. In other words, this frequency never diminishes. The obvious reason here is because light holds no mass. You can learn more about this subject by reading William Robertson's studies from his labs in Middle Tennessee State University. And there's many other good books about light and time, about light. We all know it is a matter of time until NASA further develops their studies on breaking the speed of light due to their studies with the EM drive resonance chamber, which accelerates particles faster than light. This would mean that NASA would change fueled engines that consists of many parts to an engine that has just a few parts with no or little fuel. Yes, this engine is not created yet. Or is it? Still, many hurdles need to be overcome and studies made before more research is accomplished regarding passing the speed of light as of this teaching date. Light is beyond time, which means a rocket could travel from one planet to another planet within minutes, breaking time inside this light bubble. Can every physical law be manipulated? Are there exceptions to every physical law, or several exceptions? The same is true regarding the confines of time as we understand it, as of this date we can pass it with light. If gravity and light itself are able to have exceptions, this may be true for time in the physical field and is true in the astral field. Time can be explored in dream state, the astral field and the physical field. The phenomenon of dreams, astral projection, and during conscious inner journeys, we move past time because it holds no importance to us while in these states, so it's easier to let it go. So what we discuss here regarding time is just as true for dreams, astral projection, and conscious journeys. So far as we studied within the World Walker's mother house, we practiced and worked on a regular basis to develop a flexible consciousness and to shift it easily from the everyday world to other levels of consciousness simply by deciding to do so with a focused mind within our center stillness. The temple of time. Crystal sometimes refers to the world walkers' houses as temples. Just to clarify, referencing the time house as a temple. So let us begin our journey by becoming a little more aware of our consciousness and our focus. Let us create our physical safe space, ground and release as always. Call the ancestors and guides. Now go to the temple of the world walkers as described in previous lessons. Light your candle as usual. Turn around and face the temple of time entrance, which is the second archway to the right. As you enter the temple of time, in this entrance, it is filled with a beautiful yellow light. Go to the archway and stand within the archway in this light. Feel it fill and permeate you on all levels. When you are ready, enter the temple of time. I will not describe how this temple looks. It will be as it is meant to be for you. Other individuals may experience it differently, and that is fine too. Explore this temple until you are called back to normal consciousness. To help you continue your development, use the window exercise, which is turning our attention from what we are doing now to then seeing yourself looking into a window in the temple of time. What do you see regarding time? Now think about one instance in your life. See yourself living inside this one situation. Now start thinking about living in this situation, but another time in the far future or a time in the far past. How does the situation change? It is a little like lucid dreaming. Continue enjoying this temple for a few more moments to see what you shall see, and then bringing our attention back to our time and our place. Return to your full awareness within the physical and write down what you remember. Utilize and integrate this information in some fashion. This exercise was designed for the purpose of moving past time, seeing what is taking place past the physical, just like the rocket ship pushing past gravity, so that it may be free to enter no gravity, another world that ushers other lessons and other worlds and experiences. When we entered this life as an infant, we were very much aware of other dimensions and lived somewhat outside time. The first 3 years of our life, those around us, directly or indirectly, taught us to only focus on the physical reality so we could understand it and work within it efficiently. Being under the assumption a human can only handle working with the three-dimensional reality. Some say this is why young children are surrounded with primary colors, because they are basic and bright and help the child to pull their focus into this physical realm. As the child grows, eventually other shades of these colors are recognized, and the child is more deeply entrenched into this physical reality. Some think this color grounding is necessary for the experience of being aware of this world. Then many children are discouraged to validate what they see within their own imagination, thus by marginalizing humans' widest gateway to every place, everyone, and every time, shrinking this portal to the point humans think imagination is nothing, which the opposite is true. Imagination is where we see we are consciousness, and where we realize we have wings to fly past anything and everything within this physical reality. Imagination is where everything begins. Imagination is everything. When talking about training, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on our perspective, the religion and society as a child is born into also impose their beliefs and understandings on the child. For some, often limiting any knowledge of what is beyond the physical as well. Some children often see things that are not accepted in the rational world and are told their perceptions are not real. Eventually, most children stop paying attention to their perceptions and only see what is acceptable, which is sad. As world walkers, we are learning to remember what we already experienced when we first entered this earth through our mothers. We are not learning anything new. We are now well able to function in this world and can safely learn to expand our attention to the greater reality and experience other dimensions. This may be difficult to believe. We are capable of learning about more than one world. We are able to learn about every world. It is understood that actionable belief is the window or catalyst past time. We cannot see what we have entered if we do not believe it is here. We cannot see what we are if we do not believe how expansive we are. One warning relating to time magic. It is crucial to have a good, grounded, well-rounded personality. You see, time magic is an advanced study, and if we have not done the work and have a good understanding about our chakras and our levels of being and trusting in self, stepping into the deep end of the pool may be too overwhelming for some. I am not trying to frighten anyone. However, good common sense is always sensible when exploring this skill. The simplest definition of time is experiencing events sequentially, making experiences more meaningful. Consider this. We normally think about getting ready for work and leaving our home to go to work before we actually experience getting dressed and arriving at work. Otherwise, it would be confusing. For most of us, we somewhat plan our day so that we complete all the activities that need to be completed, hopefully in an efficient manner. We just do not wake up and do not think what will happen next, because we may not be able to move to the next actionable thing. In other words, we think what will be next, and it is. We think, take a shower. We take a shower. We think, get dressed, and we get dressed. We think, feed the dog. We feed the dog. We think, get in the car, and we get in the car. While all this is happening, a unit of something we call time is quickly moving past us. Now, of course, there are those that plan nothing, yet each action is always preceded with thinking about the next immediate action. An example of this, I think I'll drink a glass of water. Then the person takes the action. Each action is installed into each unit of time called minutes. We divide time into segments. We have milliseconds, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, centuries, lifetimes, generations, eras, etc., to further order our experiences and to interact with others in this clearly defined way. It is not uncommon to say to an individual, I will meet you at the restaurant at noon, or I will be back in 4 hours, or I need to complete this task by Friday. All time-stamped statements to help one organize this physical world and its myriads of experiences to be acquired, collected, or released. We all agreed in this system to organize our experiences by developing a construct we call time. Most of us understand and function quite nicely within this sequential time ordering. Because of the time construct, we are able to agree to meet at an agreed time in an agreed space for an allotted time to perform an action for a certain amount of time. So you see how heavily we rely on time? To find your center, settle in to the time between your thinking time. Allow this to expand and open, recognizing that there's more between each thinking time. Larger time orderings are centuries and millennia. Historians' perspectives. Most scientists try to uncover the past to gain old knowledge or forgotten knowledge, as well as looking forward to make new predictions in our world, future, bringing in new knowledge, just like what you're doing now. Until next time, blessed be.